Here is part 2 of the overview of how to use this universal callback script. My name is Jesse Zagorski, Live Love, San Diego Homes. I'm the broker owner here, just doing these videos because I'm a total real estate sales nerd, really. I mean, there's nothing, it sounds weird, but I don't have a hidden agenda. I just like talking about this stuff, like getting discussion going. Wanted to give back to some people in this industry because I've learned so much just from friends and people I've met over the years. So I wanted to go over kind of some of the things that have helped me. Second page, this is part 2 of this video, universal callback script, the gold brick. Let's talk about a gold brick. So what's the purpose of a gold brick? What the heck is a gold brick? A gold brick is something that you will use to compel people to want to meet with you and to take the next step. Basically, you have to understand what makes them tick, and then you're going to give them some sort of compelling reason. Why is it a gold brick? This will help you conceptualize it and remember it. A gold brick, if I had at my office here in San Diego, a literal gold brick sitting on my desk. I don't know what gold bricks are worth these days. I could probably look it up, but I know it's a lot of money, right? If I had a physical gold brick sitting on my desk, and you knew that if you came over here to my office, you could have this gold brick, no strings attached, right? You wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. No one would come after you, no mafia, no nothing, right? Like literally, if I could overcome your barrier of worrying that something bad would happen because people just don't give you hundreds of thousands of dollars for no good reason. But if you could truly believe you could just have this gold brick and it really was a real gold brick, how quickly would you be at my office? Like instantly, you would drop what you were doing and be like, I'm going to come pick up that gold brick because that sounds awesome. That's what you want your offers to be in terms of being that compelling to the people that you are giving them to. So this is the most generic one that hits upon something for almost every personality type. It hits upon something that takes away the threat. I'll go through a little more of this actually because we don't do that much about taking away the threat. This more is on the benefit side. So let's go through the generic one here, and then I'll break down the anatomy of it, of how this works. So we usually say something along these lines. Tell me how this sounds. One thing we specialize in is helping to break down the process step by step. So in addition to everything in the MLS, we have some unique strategies to find off-market properties that are very different than what most agents do. So we can also go over what to do and, more importantly, the mistakes to avoid when going through your home search. Does that sound helpful for you? WFA means wait for answer. So great. When's a good time to get together for 15 minutes to take down your criteria? Are days or evenings better for you? All right, so let's look at the anatomy of this thing. Here's what we're doing here. You're going to start any gold brick with some sort of line like this. We're going to do, I've got an idea. Tell me how this sounds. Most of the clients I work with have found, or I totally respect that. I like the way you think. You probably already know this. So pick any one of these. It's like a choose your own adventure. If you remember from being a kid, you have the choose your own adventure novels. So choose any one of these to start a gold brick that you want. If you know your DISC personality types, that's a whole separate video we can talk about. But if you know them, if you're talking to a D, a driver, like a dominant person, someone who is always in charge, this last one is perfect. You probably already know this. And then you tell them something that they may or may not actually know, but it makes them feel really good to say, hey, you probably already know this. And all of these are going to end with the same close. You could do this 100 different ways, but if you at least know one way to close, as soon as they agree that whatever you've given them that's beneficial, you say, great, let's get together so we can do whatever this is, right? Let's get together so we can do this. You're going to be a little more eloquent because you're going to reference something you've just said. Let's get together so we can go over your criteria. In general, does days or evenings work better for you? I think that's the easiest possible close you can do over the phone. In general, does days or evenings work better for you? Because that way you're kind of getting out of the way than one of the more common objections, which is, oh, I got to check my calendar, I'm busy. You're just saying, hey, in general, is it daytimes or evenings that work better for you? Or is it during the week or the weekends? You give an alternative choice close. That's two equally acceptable options that either of them work for you. It doesn't matter, days or evenings. If they push back, that's when you would want to start to take away some of the threat. So you can always throw in something like, hey, it doesn't cost anything and there's no obligation to buy a home, right? if you really want to continue, I oftentimes say things like this, because genuinely this is how I feel. I just want to make sure you're getting all the right information so you can make the best decision possible. Sound fair? Because most people, one, they're going to say, yeah, it sounds fair. And two, when they really know if your heart's in the right place, you're just trying to educate them, as long as they actually have some motivation to do whatever you're discussing, then this is the whole taking away that threat from the gold brick. They're going to say, yeah, sounds good. As soon as they agree, go back to setting the appointment again. Great. So did you want to do something today at 4, or is 6 o'clock going to work better for you? For some of you who don't close that often, it might feel awkward to say things like that at first. Hopefully you're used to saying closes, but I can tell you, the person listening, when you're in rapport and you've said something that's very natural that they find a value, it's not going to feel pushy. It's going to feel very normal and logical, like, great. So does that sound helpful? Yeah, it sounds great. Great, you want to do 4 o'clock or is 6 o'clock today better for you? It's a very natural conversational thing. The idea is that none of this should ever really feel pushy. All right, so here's a couple other examples of some gold bricks. So in between that beginning, remember the beginning is start any of these gold bricks with one of these. I've got an idea, tell me how this sounds, end them all with great. When can we get, let's get together, not when can, let's get together. Really important distinction. You're not asking after they agree with what you have said, that you're not asking, hey, can we get together? Since they've already said what you've offered is beneficial, you're going to assumptively say, great, let's get together so we can do X, Y, Z. And then you're going to ask a closing question. All right, so here's a couple other examples of these. Buyer gold bricks, first-time buyers or anyone who's really analytical. So, at the beginning of the search, buying a home can be a really intimidating process, even for someone who has bought tons of homes. One thing I specialize in is helping to break down the process step by step so that you know exactly what to do, and more importantly, the mistakes to avoid when going through your home search. Does that sound helpful to you? Cool. Important thing to note, by the way, I've read these, I've said them thousands of times, so they sound very natural. Even though I'm literally reading it word for word, you want it to feel very comfortable. If you're going for a deal-seeking buyer, someone who's just all about the deals, right? One of the things we specialize in is finding off-market properties. These include foreclosures, short sales, estate sales, really all of the best deals, oftentimes before they are even on the internet or the MLS. Do you think finding out about these homes before anyone else could help you get a good deal? So this one here, if your inventory is really limited and you don't do things to find off-market properties, don't set yourself up to fail. Make sure you actually can back this up. I can do a whole separate video on how we help people find off-market properties, because this is something we actually do. All right, someone who's early in the process. Someone says, I really don't want to waste your time. I'm not looking for like 12 months. Totally respect that. And I love that you are already starting to do your homework. One thing I've found is that early on, when you clearly identify exactly what you're looking for, that's really the best way to avoid missing out on a home that could have been perfect for you. Does that make sense? Wait for answer. Great. When's a good time to get together for 15 minutes so we can go over your specific criteria? Are days or evenings better for you? So the reason you'd want to meet someone who's 12 months out, first of all, solidify that relationship. If you're super busy and slammed with buyers who are buying now, you may not take the time to go meet with someone who is looking 12 months away from now. But I can't tell you how many times someone has said, oh, I'm not buying for a year, and they ended up buying next month. It happens all the time. Criteria change. Timelines change. Sometimes they change the opposite way. I'm buying next week, and they don't buy for a year, right? But you never know until you get face-to-face. All the things we're talking about are designed for getting face-to-face. By the way, these are some other examples. You could have one for a busy buyer, an open house buyer. Here's some other versions of gold bricks. I can go over this stuff in as much detail as we need. Anyway, ask me questions. If this is helpful, guys, like this video, share it. Please share it with some of the other groups that you're in. Share it around. I just want to get some feedback, some comments going so we can get some discussion about this and figure out other best practices. All right, guys, hope this is helpful, and have a wonderful rest of your day.